Hello and welcome to another exciting edition of your favorite travel show, that is Tourismus. I'm your host, Glenora Shipura. In today's broadcast, we will start out with news from the industry, and then we're swing over to destinations that you must visit. And we round off the show with an interesting topic, be it within Namibian borders or beyond. We'll be right back with your topics on the other side of this. Namibia's plastic bag levy has raised approximately 249.75 million Namibian dollars since collection started about 5 years ago, providing a significant financial boost to the country's efforts to improve waste management, promote recycling, and support the transition to a greener economy. According to the Environment Tourism Minister Indileni Daniel, the levy forms part of Namibia's broader environmental fiscal reform framework, which was established to both generate revenue and encourage environmentally responsible behavior among consumers and businesses. She said that available financial data shows that 24.23 million dollars was collected during the 2021-2022 financial year, with collections commencing in the third quarter. Revenue more than doubled to 59.36 million dollars in 2022-2023 before increasing further to 69.54 million dollars in 2023-2024, the highest annual collection recorded to date. During the 2024-2025 financial year, plastic bag levy collections amounted to 67.68 million dollars, while 28.94 million dollars had been collected during the first 2 quarters of the 2025-2026 financial year. In our next story, the Environment and Tourism Ministry has completed the translocation of hundreds of wild animals from Etosha National Park to conservancies in Kunene and the Kunene area as part of ongoing efforts to restore wildlife populations, improve biodiversity, and reduce human-wildlife conflict. Between 22 and 29th of June 2026, the ministry translocated 256 springboks and 190 gemsbok to Kunene. A further 90 plains zebras were relocated to the Kunene Conservancy, while 15 gemsbok and 24 plains zebras were moved to Otjiwarongo Conservancy. The translocations were undertaken to replenish wildlife populations that declined during prolonged droughts. The initiative is also intended to provide a sustainable prey base for predators such as lions, helping to reduce human-wildlife conflict while enhancing biodiversity in the recipient areas. The ministry said the program will continue in the coming months, with plans to translocate a further 150 gemsboks to Kunene, as well as 20 giraffes and 200 common impalas to the Kunene. The latest relocation forms part of ministry's broader wildlife management efforts aimed at restoring ecological balance and strengthening the resilience of wildlife populations in affected conservancies. Moving on, the illegal harvesting of Namibia's endangered lithops and other protected succulent plants has emerged as a growing conservation concern. Environment Minister Indileni Daniel said that authorities have recorded 40 plant poaching cases over the past 5 years as international demand for rare species continues to fuel cross-border trafficking. Daniel outlined the government's response to the growing threat posed by organized plant poaching syndicates targeting Namibia's unique flora. According to the minister, recorded cases increased sharply from 2 in 2021 to 12 in 2022 before peaking at 17 in 2023. The number of cases declined to 7 in 2024 and just 2 in 2025, a trend she attributed to strengthened law enforcement and greater cooperation between government agencies. Daniel said Namibia's rich diversity of endemic succulent plants has made the country an attractive target for international traffickers. All right, that concludes our topics. On the other side of this, we get into our destinations segment. First up, we are at the Crocodile farm Anna Noel, the co-shareholder of the Otjiwarongo Crocodile Farm, shares recent developments and provides insights into the farm's operations, including the care and management of crocodiles at its various facilities. Noel said the operation is home to more than 3,000 crocodiles, ranging from younger animals to mature breeding stock. Let's have a look.
So I'm Anna Noel. I'm one of the shareholders of the Otjiwarongo Crocodile Farm. We started to take over the farm about 15 years ago, and currently we've got two things to look forward to. The one is that our son Christian has started to do vegetable tanning on crocodile skins, and we also started manufacturing small leather articles with vegetable tan skins. That's wonderful because they have no pollutants in them, there's no chrome in that tanning process, and it's very sustainable and protective towards the environment, and that's wonderful for us. It takes ages for to tan a skin with vegetable tanning, but it's worth it because we've got the time in Namibia and we can do it ourselves, and it protects the environment. So that's the one thing. The other thing is that we are at long last now ready to start the Otjiwarongo Crocodile tourist attraction, to open that, and that will probably happen by the middle of August this year. Beautiful dams built by Peter Smith there, and about 40 crocodiles which have grown a lot over the past 3 years. They're big monsters lying there, only females. We hope to expand that into a breeding colony, but it's a beautiful tourist attraction, and I think people can look forward to that on their way to the Etosha. Now, I mean, you know, the first thing is the amount of crocodiles we've got at the moment. Every time I say the number of crocodiles, people think, oh, that is terrible, that's a terrible amount of crocodiles. But in international terms, we are one of the smallest crocodile farms. So we've got maybe about 3,000 crocodiles at the moment, small and big crocodiles all together. And if you want to market about 1,000 skins a year, you know, you will realize that that's not many crocodiles anymore. So people who really produce a lot of skins for Gucci, for Hermes and so on from African farms, they have 140,000 and more crocodiles. So you can imagine how small we are. It was good for us that we're so small because it carried us through COVID and a low market season, which has lasted quite a few years. So we didn't have that many animals to feed and no turnover on them. But I mean, it's a small business, and we need the tourist industry to supplicate it, and we need the restaurant to supplicate it, and we've got a small guest house and camping sites, a few camping sites that are very neat. So all of these things help to make the farm a viable and a profitable entity. Also, we're very grateful for the amount of people that work here. I've got fantastic employees, and everybody's friendly and hardworking and so on. As for who is the oldest crocodile here, so the farm started in 1985 with already adult crocodiles. Now, you know, I must now sort of guess how old were the crocodiles when they came here. If you work around maybe 10 to 15 years old, plus the 50 years that after 1985 up till now, more or less, then you can say the crocodiles here are, that's now the breeding colony, is between maybe 65 and 80 years old. Very difficult to say exactly how old they are. But the remarkable thing about the crocodiles is their resilience. They don't become ill. The adult crocodiles, They outlive their scars and injuries. Although they live in water in which they also eat, they have such strong antibodies that their wounds just don't become infected. Even if they have a fierce fight amongst themselves, these scars just heal. Stompy, one of the crocodiles, it's the only one with a name, is one of the examples, because his tail was bitten off, part of his upper jaw was bitten off in a fierce fight, and he's recuperating, he's pairing again, he's eating again. Yeah, they are quite amazing dinosaurs.
In our next destination, we are at White Sands Lodge and Camping, which is an eco-friendly family-run lodge situated directly at the Popa Falls on the banks of the Kavango River in the Etosha National Park near Divundu, Namibia. Carly Abrantes speaks with Ronnie Rathisier, the managing director and co-owner of White Sands.
Hi guys, welcome back to the destination segment of this episode of Tourismus. Today we are joined by the managing director and co-owner of White Sands, Ronnie Rathisier, and he's going to tell you guys what you can expect when you get here. Ronnie, thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Could you please give our guests a little bit of an overview of White Sands? What is the accommodation that they can expect, and do you guys have activities that they can do here?
Yes, we obviously offer a lot of activities. We've got different products. You can camp with us, you can stay in the luxury rooms, you can stay in the chalets, you can self-cater.
Okay,
so
you can have range.
Yeah, you can have dinner, bed and breakfast obviously included. We've got 2 boats, we've got a game drive vehicle, we ordered another one now.
Okay.
So we're going to have 2 for the bigger groups. Yeah, so that's basically what I can think of for now.
White Sands in a nutshell.
Exactly,
but
yeah.
I think your guys' location is absolutely beautiful. I don't think we know that there's no other lodge in Namibia that can say they are located on the falls of the Popa Falls and that people can view that from their rooms.
Yeah.
I think it is a very, very special place. You guys have the beach where if people hear the beach, they're going Swakop, Henties, maybe Ludritz. No guys, you can come to the beach in the north of Namibia, in Divundu at White Sands. Ronnie, you also mentioned that you guys do the different cruises, but you said cruises, so I'm assuming there's more than one option. I know most places do a sunset cruise. Do you guys have different options?
Oh yes, we have got many. We can do bright cruises that we can either have on the boat. There's a fully equipped kitchen.
Wow.
You can also do it on an island. We also have places on islands that is also very nice.
So then you go with the boat, stop over and do the bride. Okay.
Exactly, and mostly what we do is then we have it integrated with a cruise to a game cruise down to the Buffalo Core area.
Game cruise, love that.
Oh yeah, we've got breakfast cruises. We have VIP cruises. So the normal sunset, sunrise, both of them.
Okay.
We offer a lot.
Breakfast cruise, then instead of having breakfast here on the lovely deck, people go out early in the morning, and please don't make this worse for me and tell me it could be a champagne breakfast cruise.
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
it's all.
Stop.
Everything is possible.
Yes.
We're very flexible, or if it's a function, or if it's an anniversary, or whatsoever.
I was literally thinking in my head, I'm going next anniversary. I'm going to, our phone's always listening to us, so I'm just going to walk past my husband's phone and go White Sands breakfast. White Sands breakfast cruise.
Yeah.
So that it starts throwing the ads to him.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for having us. You guys know where to go. You know that White Sands is one of the only places where you can see the beach, see the falls from your room, and there are so many things here to do. So we'll see you guys after this.
All right, that concludes our destinations. Do let us know in the comments sections what you guys make of these destinations. If you have visited them, are planning to visit them, let us know your plans. On the other side of this, we get into our To The Point segment. Veteran conservationist and author Peter Bridgeford has officially launched his highly anticipated new book, Conservation and Tourism in Namibia, The Early Days, at the Namibia Scientific Society in Windhoek. The book chronicles the early development of conservation and tourism in Namibia, drawing on Bridgeford's extensive knowledge and experience. During the launch, he expressed heartfelt gratitude to the organizations, historians, and supporters whose contributions help bring the important account of Namibia's conservation history to life. Let's have a look.
Yes, and as you guys can see here today, we are with one of the people. If you don't know this man, then I don't know where you guys are from. So here with Mr. Peter, thank you very much for coming through, Really
thank you very much. It's a pleasure,
appreciate
George.
you guys coming here. And just to talk a bit about your latest, latest book, recently launched.
It's a pleasure.
See, nice
Yes,
book,
that's
nice
it,
cover,
that's it.
so you guys can see here. The cover. We just spoke a bit about the cover right now. I asked him if he recalls the two gentlemen here, and he said he does know them. Unfortunately, one of them passed away, and
The other one I have not been able to trace. He could still be alive, but he left and he went to South Africa, so I don't know what happened to him. But the other guy died in a motor accident in Etosha while he was working.
okay, but let's just talk a bit about the title of the book. The book came out. The title of the book is Conservation and Tourism. What was the main purpose? Why was that the title?
You take a step back a bit. In 2018, I published the book Conservation Pioneers in Namibia. But it was more about the people, the conservation rangers, the guys who worked with the windmills and looked after the animals and the fences. But I thought this time I must talk about tourism as well. Tourism is very important in our country today.
Yes.
And if we go back, when our tourism started in Namibia, they started building rest camps and nature reserves and things. Halali was built in the 70s. Okukuyo and Namatonia are much older. Various reserves all over the country. New Grosbaum and Von Bach, Luderitz, Ice. That all goes back to the late 60s, 70s, early 70s.
Yes.
And the people who managed the resorts were known as tourist officers, and those that worked in the field were known as rangers or conservationists. But they all worked for the same, in those days, the Southwest African Administration, Nature Conservation and Tourism Division.
Yes.
And I thought I must, in the new book, talk a bit about the tourism.
Yes.
Because it's the foundations these guys laid is what we are reaping the fruits of that now.
Today, yes.
We have, how important tourism is, how many thousands of visitors we're getting from besides local visitors or Southern Africa, is from all over the world.
All over the world,
They're
yes.
coming, and they're using these resorts. Some of them are getting old, but these are the guys who built them.
Yes.
And I was fortunate to be able to still find a few that were alive. Some of them gone to South Africa, some disappeared, I don't know where they are.
Yes.
And so I have got some information about the early days.
Yes,
what it was like, what they did, how they experienced things then.
Yeah, the book recently just came out, so we didn't really have the time to go through it. But let's just talk a bit about, your olden days. Back then, as you said, in the early 70s, you were also a tourist officer.
Yes, I started my career as a tourist officer. In 1976, I got a post in Etosha.
Yes.
And very exciting for me. It was all new. But ironically, I was in Etosha for 3 months.
3 months?
And they said, you go to Swakopmund. And I said, no, but I want to say, no, you're needed in Swakopmund. We are short of staff. So I went to Swakopmund and I worked on the coast. This is the time they were building the big camping sites along the coast. Mile 4 was already built, 480 campsites. So you must, it's pretty big.
Yeah,
you see
big.
how many people used to come camping. Then they built Mile 14. It was already done when I got here, or it was already finished building. Jakkalspits, Mile 72, I helped with the layout of the campsites and the things there. The ground earthworks have been done. But we planted hundreds of tar poles to delineate each campsite. And then they were also starting to build Mile 108. So I was involved with that, and then I was transferred to Henties Bay because there's been a resort development, and it didn't work out so well.
Yes.
So they had got money from the government, so the government took back, and they said, what are we going to do with these bungalows and these campsites? Open it for the public. So I spent two very good years in Henties Bay, basically 77, 78. Henties Bay very different from what Henties Bay looks like
today.
There was a few permanent families. There was one grocery shop, 2 garages, and that's about it. No doctors, no police, nothing. And that was my early start in tourism, and I learned a lot, and I'm very grateful for that. Because later years, that stood me in good stead, having a background of tourism.
Yes. Yeah, let's go back to some of the challenges you spoke about. You know, you were in Henties Bay for about a good 2 years. There was like one service station, one shop, all this type of stuff. What were some of the challenges you faced during your time when you were, you know, in Henties Bay? Or just in general?
We didn't really have, it was relatively, Swakopmund was close by, so most of the things we know, our laundry was taken to the bungalows in Swakopmund. You know, there's about 200 bungalows there, and they had, the laundry was then sent to Windhoek, to the government laundry in Windhoek. It was things. And then you'd get your new washing, go back and forth. So it was relatively easy. We didn't have that many challenges. You were in town. I mean, ups and downs, things happened. We had a fire one night. Somebody left a candle on, and the gas geyser exploded and blew out the windows and burnt off the roof. Luckily, it was very limited. We had some other accidents, nothing serious. But there weren't many challenges then, but it was, say, a big learning curve for me.
I see.
Interesting days, very nice days.
Yeah. Looks like it was very fun days.
Yes, fun days, yes. You know, and you only realize it afterwards. You know, I think it was pretty good days we had. But often, when you're in the situation, small things bother you.
Yes,
you know,
yes, 100%. Yes.
You make mountains out of molehills. You know.
Now I see. Okay, let's just talk a bit. You know, about yourself. As you see, he's talking right now. He's giving out a lot of knowledge to all the younger kids like me. Yes. So, what is something that you would say is very interesting to read, or let me say your favorite chapter or story that's inside this book? What's one of your favorite things that you shared inside here?
Okay, I must first say, I didn't write all these stories. I collected stories. I contacted people. I said, tell me you worked there and there, or you worked in Etosha, you worked at tell me, what did you do? What was the story like? Give me a date. What year were you there? What was it like? So a lot of these stories are not on my, I collected them and edited them and looked at this story, oh no, can't publish, throw this one away, put that in. And you'll see under each, I also contributed some stories of my experiences, but it's under a lot of people's names there, you know, different people. And again, today it's very easy with emails. When I started, we didn't have WhatsApps, but you know, we had emails, you'd phone. A lot of people use that. Some of the older generation, they went into computers, and I would phone them. I say, tell me what, and 10, 12 pages in an envelope gets posted to me, and I'd get that information. You know, this and this happened. I worked with this man. I worked with this. And of course, what is very important is photos.
Photos, 100%. I was actually about to get to that, because at the launch you did say that you'd always go to some of the old pioneers and ask them, you know, stories, and they'd always come back with an album and give you an album full of pictures.
Yes, yes, a lot of the times, but you know, like today, everybody's carrying a phone, a camera in your phone. Those days it wasn't, and every time you took a photo, it cost you money. Because you had to have it developed, whether it was black and white or slides. So, and the people weren't well paid then. So, you know, there should be a lot more photos, but they weren't, because often the guys were on horses or in things, they couldn't carry a camera. So a lot more photos would have been nice, but I still did get photos from people. You know, sometimes it was taken on an 8mm cine, and then it became old, and that was converted onto a CD or onto something other electronic form. But over 40, 50, 60 years, it degenerates.
100%.
And I know there are some photos in there which are not very clear, but nobody else has ever given me a photo of that, so I've used them because it's a historic photo.
100%.
And it was always nice if often the children, you know, my father worked there, he's now gone, my mother and father worked there, but I have some photos, and so some of those photos come from the children or from other family or things, and it's always, you know, you can tell what they say, a photo is worth 1,000 words, something like that. You know, if you see the old thing, what it looked like, what the tents looked like, what the accommodation looked like, it's a lot more, and the photos make the story, like the lovely cover photo there of the vet measuring a lion's teeth. Now
that knowledge is what we have now at schools, and you know, we know the length of the teeth of the lion.
They said,
and all
they
those
did a
stuff.
lot of
Yes.
research. It started in the 70s already, doing that research. Some very good and some very hard-working scientists,
Yes, yes.
botanists, people who work with insects, all kinds of people
Yes,
that
100%.
did very good research,
Yes.
in Etosha and other reserves.
Yeah, no, so this is where we close it off. But just for anybody who wants to get a copy of the book, where can they get a copy of
You
this?
can get it to the Namibia Scientific Society. They are the ones who published it. They carry the costs. I wrote the story, I give it to them. They put it in this lovely form, and they did really a very good job. I'm very happy with it. You can buy it from them. It will be available in bookshops as well now.
also,
Yes.
So yes, that's
You go to your bookshop. If they haven't tell your bookshop, they know the bookshop will know where to order it.
where to order it from. Yeah, so that's it. So thank you very much, Mr. Peter, for coming through.
George, it's been a great pleasure. Thank
Just
you
to-
for inviting me along.
Yes, yeah. Thank you for the knowledge, because you are the man with the knowledge, with all the knowledge here. So thank you very much.
Thank
for
you
that.
very much,
Yes, yes.
and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to the end of this wonderful, wonderful show. Thank you for tuning in and catching up on the latest and also destinations that you must travel on your favorite travel show. From me, Glenn Rashipura, until next time.